Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Scorpio energy. And we're going to get these cards out. Then we're going to shuffle the Intuit deck to see what it wants to add to the story. At the end, we're going to ask what a potential outcome is for people, depending on if they harness a more high vibrational Scorpio energy or a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio energy. You know, we're all on the spectrum of learning lessons in life, and some people have done the work within themselves. High vibe Scorpio is willing to be in deep, meaningful relationships. They've worked through their fears or insecurities, some of their past pain and heartbreak, and self-limiting beliefs to have hope and faith and belief in themselves and in love. But other people might still be manipulated by their fear and their insecurity and their past pain and heartbreak, and they're kind of keep their more authentic, loving nature buried beneath the surface, and they could operate more from their more defensive nature. And then Scorpio is emotional water sign. Some people love themselves. Some people love the world. You know, they like indulging in all these things that they are sure will make them happy. And some people don't want to do love. Like to make their life more about themselves or those things of the world. And the whole thing is, we just need to see the truth about the different people we're dealing with. If you want to be in deep, meaningful relationships, you need to be in relationships with other people who want deep, meaningful relationships. And maybe need to quit trying to change people and accept that people, if they had freed themselves from things, would they be a more open, loving person? Just, fair, balanced, act with character and integrity? Maybe. But if they haven't done that work within themselves, then, you know, and learning certain lessons can take years and decades. So, you know, we wish people peace. And we move on to go find people who are free to love. We have an Intuit card that isn't showing itself. The reason it came out is because of anger. Animals. Well, the animals can represent kind of like who we align ourselves with in the world. We have our dualistic nature. We have different people in our life that we live with. Some people are codependent, and they have people in their life that they won't move forward in life differently unless those people move forward in life differently. Some of those people could be angry about it. High vibe people also have loving, supportive, encouraging energy in their life, people in their life, and they align with those people, and other people could be mad because they want to be in a relationship with you. But if you keep being in high vibe energy and loving and believing in yourself, well, then you're not in shadowy energy. And some of them, the only way they would be in a relationship with you, if you're in shadowy energy. If you're in your fear, your insecurity, your pride, your ego, your lust, your greed, your more immature, indulgent nature, then yeah, let's hang out. But if that's not the energy you're in, then some people are mad because you're not willing to kind of indulge them in poor behavior because you're holding yourself to a higher standard. I also look at this card as the overarching reason for the reading, and it's a judgment card. You know, there's consequences for our actions, and there's some people in the world that are shadowy. They're bossy, they're controlling, they're immature, they're egotistical, they're self-centered, not very tempered. And they could take kind of more immature, impulsive, hurtful action in relationships. And some people think because they indulge that behavior in themselves, and they might have other people in their life who kind of indulge them in that poor behavior, they think you should indulge them in that poor behavior. And people got to learn there's consequences for your actions, and some people aren't used to people holding them accountable for their actions. And if they have things and people in their life that they make their life about, not truth and love, they thought you should make your life about those things, and you made a decision, no. I don't know why you make those things or those people or whatever it is so important in your life, but I listen to love and intuition to guide me, not the world, not my ego, not my fear, not my insecurity, and not other people manipulating me. I move forward in truth and love. Do you want to move forward that way? And they're like, no, I don't. but I want you to do it the way I want you to do it. It's like, sorry, that's not how I want to live my life, but you can go ahead and live your life that way. So what's going on in Scorpio energy? We have the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups can talk about what we align with within ourselves. The Two of Cups is Cancer energy, emotional water sign energy again. But I kind of view it as what we align with within ourselves. Do we align with our hopeful, believing, loving nature? Or do we align with our kind of more immature, self-indulgent, or worldly nature? Why did the Two of Cups come out? Because of the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is Virgo energy, and it kind of has to do with what our truth is. And depending on what our truth is, what we're aligned with, is what we're going to invest our time, energy, and effort into. High vibe energy is about aligning with your loving nature, and the Nine of Pentacles talks about learning these lessons in life to be more independent of being manipulated by your fear, your insecurity, your pride, your ego, your lust, your greed, and then the people in the world who would like you to live your life like that. Some people are mad because you know your worth and value and you love and believe in yourself, and you're staying independent of them, and they don't like it. They align with, maybe they're more worldly nature, more driven and motivated by status, image, money, and they could, have certain traits, characteristics, qualities, assets about them that they think you should stay in a relationship with them because of those reasons. And it's like, that's not enough. I can love you. I can have adult children. I can have siblings. I can have friends. If they're kind of immature, shadowy Scorpio, could be intimidating, controlling, hurtful, unkind, act like a private detective in a relationship, emotionally shallow, superficial. If you want me to be in a relationship with you, I need you to have learned some lessons to not align with that nature within yourself. And if you keep aligning with your more worldly, shadowy nature that I could view as being immature, superficial, shallow, bossy, controlling, intimidating, manipulative, yeah, I'm going to keep my distance from you. But some people, what they have to offer are those things of the world. I'm attractive. I'm charming. I have money. I'm single. You should want to be in a relationship with me. It's like, don't worry. There will be someone who wants to be in a relationship with you for those reasons. I might have already been in a relationship with you, though. And I know you have those things of the world, but you're missing learning some lessons about how to be in a more deep, meaningful relationship. Maybe some people are just immature. And it's like, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone. I don't want to indulge in a relationship like I'm an animal. I want a more meaningful relationship. Not to act like dogs in a relationship in heat or something, right? Then we have a card not showing itself, and that is the Six of Swords. And the reason that came out is because of the Tower. There's some people, the Six of Swords is Aquarius energy, kind of like you had a dream. You could have moved forward with some people in a relationship, and once upon a time, you thought a dream was going to come into reality with those people. But then the Tower hit, maybe many times, because sometimes, we have an idea that we're moving forward with, and we're like, oh no, God, I can make this work. Boom. Oh no, God, I can make this work. Boom. Oh no, God, I can make this work. And eventually we're like, okay. The Tower is trying to reveal the truth of people's foundations. What drives and motivates them, their truth, and their idea of the dream life and the dream relationship is different than your idea of the dream life and the dream relationship or the dream workplace environment. And eventually with the Tower, we can't keep denying the truth anymore. And that's when it's like, okay, I've seen the truth. This is not the safe and stable environment I thought it would be. It's not grounded. It's not stable. It's not just. It's not fair. It's not loving, They might want to keep moving forward in the relationship because it maybe works for them. It might be good for their ego and image. Just want to be in a relationship for some of them to maybe help them feel more stable. But I want to be in a relationship based on truth and love. And I'm not going to stay in a foundation with someone if the foundation they build their life on isn't truth and love. They're trying to build a foundation on something else. And that makes me think of that Bible verse, to build a stable foundation. You can't build it on shifting sand. And that is, if people are in a relationship with you because of fear, insecurity, lust, greed, pride, ego, money, materialism, well, if someone else comes around that's more willing to indulge them in their fear, or their insecurity, or their bossiness, or their controllingness, or their ego, or has more money and status and image, well, that's an unstable foundation because it's not based on love. But some people thought because they might look like a shining star in the world in some way, that you should be willing to indulge them in a relationship anyway. I was like, no, I'm not going to stay in a relationship if it's not based on truth and love. You might be willing to stay in a relationship for other reasons, but that's not why I want to be in a relationship with someone. Do I want those things? Yes. Was it kind of difficult to make that decision? Probably, because I had to love myself, know my worth and value, to kind of detach from aligning with being more manipulated by those things of the world. And I did. And I don't want to move forward with you anymore. And I'm detaching from that foundation. And then we have the Seven of Cups. And the reason that came out is because of the Aquarius star card. Similar to the Six of Swords is Aquarius. I have a dream. And the Seven of Cups is Aquarius, or Scorpio energy. I have a dream of being in more deep, meaningful, loving relationships. That's my dream. For some of you, you could have someone get out of a relationship with you. Because your truth isn't their truth. They are more about the world. They are more emotionally invested in looking like a shining star in the world, and that's the most important thing that drives their decisions, or being more about themselves and being indulged in a relationship. And you're like, and if you wanted them to move forward in truth and love, some of those people, just like they got out of maybe relationships with you, some of those people are getting out of relationships with other people. It's one thing to get in a relationship, kind of indulge yourself in a relationship for whatever reason. But then when it comes time to really take action to bring that dream into reality, it's like, oh, no, gotta go. I just create the illusion that I'm going to bring the dream into reality. And as long as the people I'm in relationship with will keep being in relationship with me, not requiring me to really bring the dream into reality, I'll keep indulging in it. But when they require me to either really invest in this dream or to get out of it, I'll get out of it. Bye. See ya. In either case, if you had to detach from some people in your life or some people detach from you, in either case, it's confusing. Because high vibe people did emotionally invest in people, probably had love for people, were loving and encouraging and supportive to try to put this work in to bring a dream into reality. And, people can wear a false mask when you first get in a relationship with them. And some people wear a false mask all their life, Their ego nature is kind of running their life the whole time. And it's really confusing because people presented themselves as people who were motivated and inspired. And the thing is, we don't start dating people and necessarily ask them, are you motivated and inspired by love? And do you believe in love? And do you have a dream of love? We have all these things that, we're trying to work through with them to find out, do we like each other? Do we have similar hobbies and interests and things that we enjoy, and maybe some similar common things maybe in our background that we get along? You know, and we're kind of working through a lot of those things that to work through. But then eventually, as we are further in the relationship, then we could get more down to the core foundational factors that drive people, and then that can be when a relationship ends. So you could be in a relationship with someone for 10 or 20 years, you know, working through all these different things and these things we want to manifest in the world, until we really see that how we harness our Scorpio energy is different. What really drives and motivates us and is different, you know, but we can get along for a long time and work together cooperatively for a long time until it maybe gets to that final, what really drives and motivates you that makes you stay in the relationship? What really drives and motivates me that makes me stay in the relationship? And if people have been moving forward and then we're kind of at the phase of the relationship where we're kind of expecting it to continue to grow and become a more deep, meaningful relationship. You know, it could have been pretty good for a long time, but when it gets to be like, what? Like, we can't just do this. I really have to invest like love into it more authentically. I can't keep my emotional, more loving nature buried beneath the surface. You want it to come out onto the surface and kind of to shine my light in the world and be more authentically myself. Yeah, no, that can be when some people are like, that's where I draw the line. I'm not doing that. So then we have the Three of Pentacles, the Six of Cups, and the Six of Pentacles. And the reason that came out is because of the Judgment card. So the Six of Cups is Scorpio energy. The Six of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which kind of has to do with our philosophy of life and how we make decisions in our life and what we value and what's important to us and how we view the world, how we view ourselves, how we view relationships. And we can be in relationships with people, and the sixes, again, can talk about trying to find a place of balance. But there comes a point in time, if we keep seeing that the sevens are kind of like tipping in favor of one direction or the other. That's how I view it anyway, because there's 12 zodiac signs, and Taurus energy is kind of like our Supreme Court in our head. If I want a relationship to be tipped more in favor of love and deep, meaningful relationships, I need the other people in my life to emotionally invest in favor of that being their philosophy of life, to make that judgment, to make that decision. After that, we have the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands can talk about being defensive. I will do a lot of things and get along with a lot of people in a relationship, but are you willing to do love? And some people are like, no, I'm taking the door to access to me away. Other people are like, yes, I will let go of my defensiveness. Maybe, it's kind of making me think like kind of who I am is who I say I am. If anybody wants access to me, they just need to talk to me, because I am kind of being like authentically myself, and I am willing to move forward, more motivated by truth and love than defensiveness. But when those things happen, it's really confusing, and we have to put in this work and effort to get balance within ourselves. The sixes can talk about reconciling ourselves with the past and the dreams that we had, and emotionally to maintain balance within ourselves and not let ourselves get tipped out of balance, where we could go take action more out of pain and heartbreak and lust and greed and fear and revenge and all those kind of things, right? Because we probably already lived enough life that if we go do that, it's just gonna kind of throw more snakes in our pit, you know, just being a human being and dealing with life and our own issues. It's kind of like being a human being. You just have some snakes in your pit, your own fear, your own insecurity, your own self-limiting beliefs. I don't need to do something foolish and immature that's just going to cause me more emotional confusion. You know, I'm going to put in work and effort to keep maintaining balance within myself. I will deal with the truth of this situation. I will see the truth about people. That's the Tower card, is seeing the truth of people's foundations and what drives and motivates them. I'm not going to take it personally. If they were a more just and fair and loving person, they'd be a more just and fair and loving person. If they wanted to be in more deep, meaningful relationships, they would be. But everybody has to work through their own kind of defensive nature to love themselves, to believe in themselves, to trust other people, to believe that if it doesn't work out, I believe I can pick myself back up again. Some people don't want to do deep, meaningful relationships, maybe because they don't know if they could pick themselves up. They could feel like it would completely devastate them or something, you know? So they're just not even willing to go there. They'd rather let a loving relationship go from people with people who are more independent to go get in a relationship with someone where do you make your life more about wanting to be in a relationship, maybe to be in a relationship, maybe for some of the stability and the security and we get along good enough, might be in shadowy Scorpio energy, a little superficial and shallow. But I'm kind of defensive to doing love. Are you on that same page? And if those people are kind of on the same page, then those people will decide to move forward together because that's where they're both at. And that would be a just and fair relationship. But for someone who doesn't have hope and faith and belief in love, who is aligned with, I don't want to align with hope and faith and love, but I want to be in a relationship with someone who's freed themselves from all the things that manipulate me to be a more giving, loving person. Oh my gosh, that's like a dream come true. Yeah, I want to be in a relationship with you. But then you move forward in a relationship with them. You're putting in work and effort to bring a dream into reality based on love, where people hold themselves accountable and do this work to free themselves. And some of the people in our life are like, oh, what? I have to hold myself accountable? I have to kind of call judgment on my more worldly nature and wanting to repeat these patterns of the past and kind of just keep moving forward, kind of in a more immature energy? Oh, I didn't know that was going to be required. I know you can go. I'll go find someone else who is willing, and that's fine. So long as those people, if that's their idea of the dream life, hey, knock your socks off. It wasn't my idea of the dream life. I didn't move forward with it because I didn't find it. I'm motivated by love. And I didn't feel like it's a relationship really based on love. It's more based on, again, the fear, the codependency, the want for certain things, but not love as a driving factor. And so I left. And I am offering myself that cup of love to maintain balance within myself. And, you know, we come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get clear about what our truth is and more clear about our truth. And that wasn't my truth. And I've called judgment on it, wish them peace, but I'm moving forward, maintaining balance within myself, doing the work to get out of the emotional confusion, get out of my defensiveness about it, and just move on with my life. And to go find the people in the world who are more on the same page as me. And some of you could have already had these new beginnings in friendship, work, or relationships, because the Three of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles in Capricorn and Taurus energy can kind of represent all those different things. I'm going to go find the people in my life who I do think work together with me in a more just and fair and balanced way. Because if someone was tipped out of balance, is what the Tower can refer to somebody being in their more shadowy nature. I want to be in relationships with people who have done some work to work through their fears and insecurities and immature nature, prideful nature, defensive nature, to be more just and fair and balanced within themselves so they can be that way with me in a relationship. If you're in a relationship with someone who's kind of tipped out of balance, you kind of have to indulge them in them being tipped out of balance. If it's immature, defensive, materialistic, angry, bossy, controlling, whatever it could be. And it's like, I want to be in relationships with people who are more balanced than that. So, what is coming up? For some people, so seeing the truth, there's some people we wanted to have dreams come into reality with, but they're not maybe communicating with us and investing in us to work together in that way. So we have to let go of that old dream, but we don't let go of our dreams. We just realize they're not the person for that dream to be able to come into reality with. And I can only have my dream come into reality with people who are kind of more on the same page as me. So I need to work through the emotional confusion of that. I can love people, wish them peace, and we're not in relationships or we're not even clicking as friends anymore, because somehow we just kind of got on different pages, and there's no guarantee when people are going to get caught up in their emotional confusion, get caught up in these other things of the world, get caught up in their fear or something, and we wish them peace and we keep moving forward. So what's coming up for some people that are moving forward in some high vibe Scorpio energy that they might not see coming up? The Death card, the Nine of Pentacles, the Hierophant. Why? Because of the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles moves away from the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles was a foundation that we were holding on to, if that was a job, a friendship, or a relationship, or just a way of viewing life. You learned some valuable life lessons during that phase of life or that situation. It really helped you get clear, this is not aligned with my truth. And it was confusing, but you put in this work and effort to maintain balance within yourself, that people have to be held accountable for their actions. And again, the Death card is Scorpio energy, that there might be people who wanted to move forward with you in a relationship, but they're not in life-giving energy. You're either inspired by truth and love and hope and faith and belief, or you're not. And some people, somewhere along the way, gave up on that or something, and they're more aligning with their more shadowy Taurus energy. And they might want to be in a relationship with you. Someone might communicate with you, and it might be surprising. And you could communicate with people and talk things through with people. But if your intuition, which is another lesson you've learned through life, if your intuition is telling you that they still have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, try to emotionally confuse you about the truth, and your intuition is telling you that it might be because something else just didn't work out, so hey, I'll go get in a relationship with you. It's like, well, I don't want people to just come get in a relationship with me because something else ended and they feel left out in the cold. We could be friends, but I'm not going to have a new emotional beginning and put in work and effort to bring a dream into reality. You've got to do this work within yourself to work through your own emotional confusion about that situation from the past. And once you've done that and you feel like you've really processed through it and you're done with your defensive energy, and then the death card can talk about transmuting the energy of what happened to free yourself from it emotionally. Then at some future date, just like me, I took time when I had to detach from someone and I went through a period of feeling left out in the cold, and I did this work within myself to love and believe in myself and really become physically and emotionally independent of those people. And it took a lot of work and effort walking the talk. And I want to be in relationships with other people who have done that work. Not, oh my gosh, this relationship didn't work out and I'm emotionally confused and I'm unstable and ungrounded. Can't I come get in a relationship with you? You have to work through that feeling left out in the cold and knowing your worth and value and figuring out if you want to go back to it or not. I'm not going to get myself emotionally tangled up in a relationship with someone who's just kind of single from a relationship, but they still feel left out in the cold from that person. Until you no longer feel left out in the cold from that person, I might just be your friend. And if you just want to go indulge in relationships with someone, you might need to go indulge in a relationship with someone else. But you've emotionally detached, some of you, as you've gone through this process. You have let go of that old foundation. You are walking the talk. And as you're moving forward in life, there's going to be other people who see that you're not the same person you used to be, that you have emotionally detached from other people, that you are single and stable and grounded and abundant in a lot of ways. And other people are going to want to move forward with you in a relationship, and you'll just listen to your intuition about who's really on the same page as you and who isn't. Another thing that could be surprising that some of you already went through, some people are just going through it. You can be in relationships with people and you can be a loving and encouraging person with them. But when you're not willing to move forward in the relationship, doing the relationship the way they want, which is more them maybe living more from their mind than their heart, and you kind of see the truth of it, and because you love and believe in yourself, I'm not going to give up my dreams to settle for an illusion of love. I really want to be in a loving, authentic relationship. And I think because of your defensiveness or the way you view life or whatever, I don't think that's really what drives and motivates you. What some people don't see coming is that some people in their life are going to try to kind of tear them down, try to stop other people from viewing you as an independent, stable, grounded, loving, nurturing person, not tell the truth about you. Try to confuse people about the truth of who you are. Just because they're mad that you kind of are the real deal. They would like to stay in a relationship with you, but they don't want to do a deep, meaningful relationship or have to really walk the talk. But they don't want people to know you were kind of like an upstanding person, and they were the ones who kind of like to be indulged, have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, are kind of more ego-focused, image-focused, materialistically focused. And they don't want people to view other people as high vibe, so they will, and it'll be shocking for some people that someone who they loved, that they thought had love for them, would be so hurtful and unkind. And that is even more confusing. And partly it can be because some of those people, because they are more about their ego and their image, but they do have this growing up and lessons to learn in life and they don't want to do it. If they can be hurtful and unkind to you to make you drive your life off into the ditch, by default, then they can move forward looking like they're the more emotionally balanced, stable, grounded person. And it's like stealing from you. The only reason you'd be tempted to drive your life off into the ditch is because people did some really hurtful, unkind, unjust, unfair, emotionally confusing things. And for some of you, it might, it depends on how old you are, it might drive your life off into the ditch. Other people have learned some lessons in life that I'm not going to let somebody who is hurtful and unkind and unjust and unfair and unloving make me sabotage my life. I'm going to keep putting in this work and effort to maintain balance and love and believe in myself and walk the talk and treat myself the way I wish other people would have treated me. And I'm not going to drive my life off into the ditch. And then it kind of ends up backfiring on those other people. Because over time, people see the truth that you really are who you said you were. And maybe the lies they tried to tell about you. People see that's not the truth, and then it kind of backfires on them. But just to know, some people will do that. What's coming up for the people who harness some more worldly or shadowy Scorpio energy they might not see coming? The King of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, and the Six of Swords. Why? Because of the Two of Cups. Shadowy people harness this energy in a more shadowy way. Again, the King of Swords is Libra energy, like Aquarius energy. It's living more from their mind and their heart. And anybody can harness that energy. You don't have to be dealing with a Libra or an Aquarius sun sign. But that is the foundation they operate from. And that's their truth. And that's the kind of relationships they want to be in, is with other people, either where they can be kind of more emotionally cold and detached from their more loving nature, or where they can, if I say something's just and fair, you're supposed to think it's just and fair, whether they're male or female, or they're just more about ego and image and money and materialism, and they want to work with other people who operate from a more worldly foundation. That's what they love. And that's what they love. And they want to work with other people who could be driven and motivated by those things. And they're always going to have some more high vibe people in their life. People who harness high vibe, Libra, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Cancer energy. Those people have love for them. Those people are offering them love and encouragement. And eventually, some of the high vibe people in their life move on. Because though they could love them, they'd like to have a dream come into reality with them, they just see the truth that you're either more about yourself, more about indulging yourself, or ego, or image, or being bossy and controlling, or something. It's not love. Not my definition of love. Might be your definition of love, but our truth and our definition of love is different. Because love is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And some people are like, no, I really think it should be more about me. And since I indulge poor behavior in myself and these ways of viewing life, you should want to be in a relationship and you should enable me in that viewpoint. And they're always going to have some high vibe people in their life that distance themselves from them. And the people who do move forward with them might be people who, I don't want to do love either. I don't want to be more independent of the world. I'm all about the world and looking like I have a certain status and image. You want to be in a relationship and that would make it look like we have what other people have in the world? Okay. For some, they could be trying to get another loving person who just hasn't learned to love themselves, could have went through some difficult times or endings in their life, caught up in the illusion of who they are. When that person sees through the illusion, then that relationship could end. But until people see through the illusion that some people try to create, they'll move forward with them in relationships and move forward with them. And if, the divine keeps trying to show them this person is not on the same page as you, what they're heading towards is a more worldly victory. You have a higher truth in love that you're looking for. And then that person will have to decide, am I willing to stay in it even though it maybe is more emotionally shallow and superficial? Maybe because I'm overwhelmed. Maybe because I have fear of being single. Maybe because I have fear of believing in myself, believing in my dreams. Well, if those people want to make that free will choice to keep staying in a relationship with them, they can. It's just that other people were like, I can't keep moving forward in that. I feel left out in the cold. I feel like I am in a relationship with either someone who's just more emotionally shallow and superficial, and I don't like it, or they're bossy, controlling, intimidating, act like a private detective in a relationship. And I'm not going to maintain an illusion. If they are not willing to hold themselves accountable for their actions and they keep justifying, repeating, in shadowy Scorpio of the Six of Cups, it can talk about repeating a poor past pattern over and over and over. And it's like, at what point are we willing to see the truth? The Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords. That can be people who have a lot of mental conflict, unstable, or people who want to win at all costs, and they don't really care who gets hurt. It's really more all about them. So in shadowy, kind of Aquarius, Libra, Scorpio energy, trying to control people instead of going with the flow and letting love and intuition guide them. They could get all up in their head. They could get all up in their fear. They could get, and it sabotages the relationship. Well, until they're willing to deal with the truth of it, they're going to probably keep living their life that way. And it could be some people don't look at life from a higher perspective, are unable to keep life in perspective. And they always get caught up in their head and in their fear and in their insecurity and feel their need to control or their ego or something, And they just lack perspective. But that's their life. That's how they view life. That's how they live life. A lot of them will just keep moving forward like that. It's just trying to find somebody who will kind of indulge them in that behavior in a relationship. And some other people weren't. And the other people probably communicated with some other people in the world. I'm moving forward. I learned these lessons. I don't want to repeat these certain ways of being in friendships and relationships and workplaces. Who wants to move forward with me in this more emotionally balanced way where people do take accountability for their actions, are willing to reveal the truth, are willing to deal with their emotional confusion and their fear and their insecurity and their more worldly egoic nature to work cooperatively with people. And the people who aren't, I wish you peace. I hope it works out for you, but I'm moving on to go be in relationships with people who do walk the talk. And some of these other people try to present themselves as people who walk the talk. But again, that's just an illusion they create in the world. It's not really the truth of who they are. So there you go, Scorpio energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.